All right, here's our last video in 11.2. We've been talking about permutations. This one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to start to talk about what happens if we have duplicate items. Let me show you what's happening here. It says, let's say that we have the word set. We have the letters S, E, T, 3 different letters, and we want to rearrange them to see how many ways we can rearrange them to get quote-unquote different words. Now they're not going to be words, but they're going to be nonsense words. But how many different words can we make with these 3 letters? Well, because each of the letters is different, we can arrange them a whole bunch of different ways, right? This is kind of like our example with the jokes, right? Joe, what did I say? Joe, Sally, and Paul, right? The 3 people could stand up in front of us and tell a joke 6 different ways. Same idea, because we could do 3 factorial, 3 times 2 times 1. But it's a little bit different if I give you the word Anna. If I give you the letters A, N, A, and I ask you to rearrange, and I want you to see how many different ways you can rearrange to make different words, the problem with this one is we have 2 A's. And so this Anna and this Anna are both the word Anna. Even though we've rearranged those A's a couple of different ways, it's the same word. So we can't count it twice because it's not a different word. We have to do the same thing here with this one and this one. We have to cross that off because it's the same AAN. And then the NNA is the same thing. So really, we only have 3 different ways we can rearrange those letters because of the repetition. Now, how the heck would we ever figure that out without writing out all the different possibilities? Well, there's a formula that's going to help us. So anytime we see something with duplicates, letters that are the same, for example, we're going to use this formula where we have an n factorial and then we have a p factorial, q factorial, r factorial, and what all of those are the items that are identical. So q is the number of letters that are the same, or P is the number of letters that are the same, Q is another item that's the same, R is another identical item that's the same, where N factorial is the total number of items that I have. Let me show you an example with the word Mississippi. If I give you the word Mississippi, how many different ways could you rearrange these letters to make different words? Now we have to make sure that we make different words and they can't be the same word. So let's count how many letters there are in the word Mississippi. I ended up getting 11, right? So I have 11 total letters that I can rearrange, 11 factorial. However, I have lots of different duplicates. I have I's that duplicate, S's that duplicate, and P's that duplicate. And even if I rearrange these 2 P's, it's still the word Mississippi. So I have to take out any time I make the same word. And so we can do that by dividing by how many different times the I's duplicate. I have 4 I's, and so I need to take out all the times that they can be rearranged and make the same word. I also have 4 S's, don't I? And so because I have those 4 S's and they can be rearranged and still make the same word, I've got to take out all the times that that happens. Same idea with the P's. Because I have 2 P's, I need to take out all the different times that those rearrange and make the same word. Using this formula then, I have an 11 factorial on the top. I have a 4 factorial times 4 factorial times a 2 factorial. Now be careful. Do not multiply the 4 times the 4 times the 2 yet. It does not mean the same thing. What we have to do is write them all out individually. So on the top, I have my 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And I can stop at 4 factorial because one of the 4 factorials is going to cancel. But be careful. Don't I have another 4 factorial down there? I have a 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 still. And I have a 2 factorial down on the bottom still. So I still have a 2 times 1. So the only thing that works, that crosses out right now, that reduces, is one of the 4 factorials with one of the 4 factorials on the top and the bottom. I still have a 4, 3, 2, 1 times a 2 and a 1. A 4 factorial and a 2 factorial down in the denominator still. Now here's the hardest part. What I would suggest that you do is take all of these numbers and multiply them together and get an answer with your calculator and write that down. And then take all of these numbers using your calculator, multiply them together and write that down. And then take those 2 numbers and divide them. There are 34,650 ways we can rearrange the letters in the word Mississippi to get us different words. 34,650 different words we can make with those letters without repeating any of the words. So again, anytime you see any sort of repetition, items that are identical, we have to use this formula to make sure that we don't repeat. You might want to write that on your 3x5 card. That was the only example that I have, but I thought of another word that I see all the time, my last name, that has duplicates, right? Devaney. So how many different words can I make with my last name? Well, how many different letters do I have? 8, so I have an 8 factorial. But some of those letters repeat, right? Don't I have multiple N's, multiple E's? I have 3 E's, 3 factorial, and I have 2 N's, 2 factorial. And so at the numerator, I have 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 factorial, because the 3 factorial on the bottom is going to reduce. But remember, I still have a 2 factorial. That's a 2 times 1. Multiply the leftover numbers at the top together, multiply the leftover numbers on the bottom together, and then divide. I can make 3,360 different words with the letters of my last name. Just another example to help you out with this idea. All right, make sure you practice your permutations. We're going to get a little bit harder next time in the next section. We're going to talk about combinations next time, and then we're going to put them all together in one. So it's really important that you practice little by little to get a good foundation before you move on. Let me know if you have any questions.